When I first met Nur Collis, he was a pretty bashed up kid. He had been racing motorcycles in the port area of Jakarta, and it's pretty oily there, so the only way to stop your motorbike is to skid and bang into something. He does this for bet money. He was covered with metal plates and broken bones and stitches, and of course, being a street kid, he had the mandatory markings of the tattoos and the piercings. But mostly he wore his cap really low, and he wouldn't take it off. And I said, what's wrong? And he had lost all his teeth. And with that, the last shred of dignity and confidence. Seriously? Just teeth? Is that all you need? So I got my dentist to get him a pair of dentures that cost. But it would take a lot more than teeth to get Nur Collis back on track. His story is the typical story. He leaves school when school starts costing money, and he is under a lot of pressure to provide for the family. He leaves the village with no jobs, for the city with no jobs. Well, no jobs for a dropout with no skills, that is. In the meantime, villages in Indonesia are being emptied of their youth. Vast fields lie empty, just with old people and young children around, as everyone has left for the city. The numbers are staggering. In Indonesia alone, it's 60% of dropout rate at high school. According to the OECD, that's the second highest rate of dropout in the world. Thousands leave their villages with no education or skills in search of a job. In Jakarta alone, a city of 12,000 street kids today. Number of productive youth in Indonesia is going to peak in the year 2030. In India, it's going to peak in 2025, which is just 9 years from now. If we don't make these people an integral part of our economy, we are doomed. Enter the idea of the learning farm. We created a residential farm to give young people the life skills to go home as farmer entrepreneurs and lead sustainable lives with dignity. Friends gave us the land and this beautiful old Dutch villa, and we started with 40 youth. They stayed with us for 3 months. It's been 11 years, and we've been helping youth go home to the communities where they belong. Too many street youth programs are about keeping young people in the city, giving them low-skill, low-paying jobs with dubious demands for some of the trinkets that they produce. What I like about our program and what is unique is that we tell them, you don't need to be given a job. There's none in the city, there's none in your village. We know that. You can work with the earth properly to have sustainable life for yourself and for your family. But the thing I'm really proudest of is our award-winning curriculum. It's based on the Gandhian ideas of heart, head, and hand, and implemented roughly in that order. The hands are really used to do proper organic farming. In working with the land and nature, the healing has already begun. The heart, no learning takes place until the heart is healed and the mind is made receptive. Nur had no teeth, but others had been violated. They had gone hungry. They had been beaten. They had learned to be invisible. So we use music, movement, art therapy, and psychologists to break through their mental barriers. We make them visible again. And in a world gripped with radicalism, we make youth come from different island cultures, different communities, different religions, and different genders to learn the joy of diversity as they live together. And finally, the head. And this bit is, don't be a dummy, use your head. It's a difficult world out there. You're going to face a lot of road barriers. Learn to make good decisions. It's that basic stuff these kids missed out on because of broken homes, broken communities, and an education system which totally failed them. Here, we bring in our corporate volunteers. So, for example, ANZ Bank comes in and teaches them financial literacy. Unilever teaches them personal hygiene. SOS Medica, first aid. English is taught by our on-site residential Australian volunteers. And Starbucks, of course, comes to teach customer service. What else? The list goes on and on. 90% of our graduates return home, back to their communities to set up their farms and reteach what they've learned. They create the ripples of change which we would never be able to create ourselves. In an island archipelago of 16,700 islands, This is the only and the best way for us to scale our impact. And Nur Kolis, today, he runs an organic farm in Bali. He works as a consultant for the Green School. He's a husband and a father. The teeth gave him back his dignity and confidence, but the learning farm gave him the skills to remake his life. A 2-minute video.
Saya hanya pengangguran di jalanan, suka minum mabok, suka pala kotor, keluar masuk penjara, istilahnya sel, polisi bukan penjara.
Dari rumah ke sekolah, waktu 3 jam, pulang pergi 6 jam.
Udah nggak punya lagi kedua orang tua, udah meninggal waktu SD. Saya jatuh sekarang.
Dengar ada di learning farm ini ada mencari anak-anak yang sudah putus sekolah, tidak lanjut sekolah karena kurang biaya atau yang tidak ada punya pekerjaan, dipanggil ke sini untuk belajar pertanian organik dan mendidik untuk kehidupan yang lebih baik.
Nah, tapi setelah dari the learning farm, saya mengenal bahwa ternyata masih luas istilahnya pergaulan untuk saya.
Yang dulunya saya tidak punya pengharapan hidup, saya sekarang jadi salah satu guru di beberapa sekolah.
Suatu pengembangan yang luar biasa. Bagaimana kita mengembangkan, bagaimana kita punya inisiatif, kreatif dan sebagainya.
Sekarang kayak udah mahal harga diri saya, mahal.
Kehadiran suatu TLA atau karang mudia itu sangat karena bisa merubah suatu benih perubahan yang dulunya negatif menjadi positif yang sangat luar biasa.
Thank you. Each transformed life gives me such a lot of joy. And I think it's a great program because I was looking at the UN SDSN goals, the Sustainable Development Goals, and I realized we hit 11 out of the 17 goals, and that makes a pretty power-packed green arrow. And I think we have a program which can be replicated anywhere, everywhere. Now, I was warned, there is no real exit from a social enterprise. It's been 11 years, and we've changed 1,000 lives of young men and women. Next month, we move to a massively bigger farm with a swanky new dorm, thanks to Red Cross Singapore. And finally, we get a separate wing for the girls. And here is my amazing team. They are the ones who have helped our youth create the hundreds of stories of impact in islands throughout the archipelago. Being from Singapore, I'd like to leave you with my favorite Chinese proverb. If your vision is for a year, grow wheat. If it is for 10 years, plant trees. But if your vision is for a lifetime, cultivate your people. Thank you.